What is up, fellas? We are back for another UFC predictions video. This time for UFC Fight Night. Nicolau versus Perez. No foreplay. We're jumping right in. Kicking us off at lightweight, Gabriel Benitez versus Shet. I'm going with Shet here in this matchup at lightweight. Gabriel Benitez at this point in his career, I think is not so good. He lost to Jim Miller, which I don't think is a great sign. Uh, he's been very hit and miss recently in his career. He's been finished pretty recently and frequently as well. David Onama knocks him out. I don't like the loss to Billy Quarantello. He beat Charlie Ontiveros. Charlie Ontiveros sucks. Justin James also sucks. Shet, much younger fighter, and I think just technically all around, he's just a better kickboxer. He operates at a higher level. He's going to be the bigger guy. He's going to be much younger. He's much hungrier. His recent losses, I don't think losing to Vyacheslav Borishev is a bad loss. I think he's probably one of the most technical kickboxers at lightweight in general, Borishev. So I don't really hate the loss to him. And I think Shet has a good fight IQ. And I think he's going to be able to get this one done. I think he's probably going to get a TKO win here over Gabriel Benitez. Moving up to women's flyweight, Ivana Petrovic versus Leang Na. Um, Petrovic is almost a minus fucking like 550. I'm going with Petrovic. I think she's just better than Leang Na. I don't mind the loss to Luana Carolina that much. I think Carolina is just a decent unranked women's MMA fighter, and I think she is tough for a debut. I think Petrovic here has a clear striking advantage. And I think the size advantage is just gonna lend to her being able to stop Liang Na's game. Liang Na's pretty good at getting like submissions, but I just think Ivana Petrovic is gonna be way too big and way too strong. I think she's gonna be able to stuff Na's takedowns, and if she gets taken down, I think she's gonna be strong enough to get up. I don't think Liang Na's gonna be able to hold her down and find a submission on her. I think she has decent submission defense. She does well against the sub, and I think she has power in her hands. And Liang Na's been KO'd 3 times recently, back to back to back. I gotta go with Petrovic here. I think she's probably gonna give Liang Na her 4th TKO loss. I think in a row. Huh. Moving up to lightweight, James Elon top versus Chris Padilla. Chris Padilla, guy, regional circuit grinder, getting his UFC debut. I think this is a bad matchup, though. James Elon is a guy on the Contender Series. He had a very good win. He impressed me a lot. I think this guy's got really nice boxing. His composure is there. His defense is there. I think he's got a good chin. He can go hard for 3 rounds. And Chris Padilla's regional opponents just don't really blow me away. I don't think Padilla's a bad opponent. Like, I don't think he's a bad fighter, but short notice against a guy who I just think is going to be able to outwork him and outstrike him. I was going to say Chris Ellentop. James Ellentop doesn't really get discouraged if he's not landing. If he's even losing in striking exchanges, he keeps himself he's very within himself at all times. I think he's going to be a very tough guy to finish. I think he's more durable than Chris Padilla. He's riding some momentum right now. I gotta go with James Ellentop, man, here. I think he's just a better striker, and I think he's going to grind out Chris Padilla. I think he's going to win a decision here over Chris Padilla. Moving up to women's strawweight, I can't say. Let me. Marnik Man. Is it Marnik or Marnich? I can't say her name. Marnik Man versus Ketlin Souza. I'm going with Caitlin Souza here, guys. I think she's just all around better. I don't rate Marnik Man very highly at all. But it's women's MMA, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like Caitlin Souza, like her only recent loss is to fucking Karine Silva, and I think Karine Silva's very good. Marnik Man, much smaller, and she just isn't very good, like at anything. Yeah, I'm going with Caitlin Souza. I think she's just gonna win a decision here over Marnik Man. I think Marnik Man sucks. Moving up to heavyweight, Dante Almez versus Kyle Machado. Kyle Machado, you look at his fight history, his recent opponents, you're like, oh, this guy might not be so bad. This guy fucking sucks. Dante Almez fucking sucks too, but I'm going with Dante Almez over Kyle Machado. Bigger guy, a little bit older, longer reach, but I rate a win over Andrei Arlovsky than anything Kyle Machado has done in his career. He had a close fight with Mick Parkin, but generally, although I picked Mick Parkin in a lot of his fights, I think Mick Parkin also fucking sucks. So I'm just gonna go with Dante Almez here for no other reason that he's bigger, he's a better boxer, and Kyle Machado kind of strikes like a baboon. Um, I rate the win for Dante Almez over Andrei Arlovsky. I think that was a pretty good win for him because guys like what the fuck is his name? Uh, Salsa Boy. Waldo Cortez Acosta can't finish Andrei Arlovsky, but fucking Dante Almez can. You know what I mean? I think that's a good win. That's better than any win in Kyle Machado's career. Kyle Machado's Dana White Contender Series opponent was fucking abysmal. One of the worst performances I've ever seen from both guys. I don't know. And they give you Dante Almez at plus money? Fuck it. I'll go with Dante Almez. Dante Almez is an idiot, but I think this is just going to be a largely a boxing contest. I know Kyle Machado can mix in his leg kicks a little bit, mix in his kicks. I just kind of feel like Dante Almez is going to catch him. Yeah, I'm going to go with Dante Almez like round 1 or 2 KO over Kyle Machado. Moving up to lightweight, Austin Hubbard versus Miguel Figl. I had to do some digging into Figl because I wasn't super familiar with some of his earlier Cage Warrior stuff, his earlier career. But after watching it, I think he's actually pretty good. I think this guy is definitely like UFC level. Whereas Austin Hubbard, I feel like is he kind of should be on his way out as far as I'm concerned. I don't think Austin Hubbard, especially lately, has shown a great account of himself, and I don't feel like overall he's very good. Like I think his skill set operates at mid, and I think Miguel Figl is just outright better at just about every single facet of mixed martial arts. I don't like Austin Hubbard's loss to Kurt Holobaugh because Kurt Holobaugh just got dominated by Trey Ogden. Granted, I think Trey Ogden's actually better than a lot of people give him credit for, but yeah, I just didn't like that performance. His striking looked very sloppy and very slow. I think Figl is just going to be able to put it on Austin Hubbard. I think he might get himself a TKO win here over Austin Hubbard in this fight. I just think Hubbard's kind of trash, to be honest. And the fact that he was in like a finals matchup for the Ultimate Fighter is fucking insane. Closing out the prelims at bantamweight, Ronnie Yaya versus Victor Henry. I'm going with Victor Henry here. Ronnie Yaya's 6,000 years old. He was there during the reign of King Tut. Um, I mean, he's sub or bust. He's sub or bust, but Victor Henry's a guy with so much experience, a guy who can go 3 hard rounds, who operates at a very high level kickboxing, decent enough takedown defense. And Ronnie Yana is not exactly a wrestling extraordinaire. He's a jiu-jitsu player predominantly. His takedowns are meh. I think Victor Henry can stuff him. I don't think Ronnie Yana has got the strength to get a guy like Victor Henry down very consistently. I think Victor Henry's just going to beat the dog shit out of Ronnie Yaya. I think he's going to TKO Ronnie Yaya in like rounds 1 or 2. It could go a little longer because Ronnie Yanya sometimes is a little bit tough, but after getting brutally KO'd and being 39, I think he's gonna be a little bit more chinnier than he normally is. I think Victor Henry's gonna KO him early in this fight. Obviously, Ronnie Yanya can maybe pull off a submission, but I really fucking doubt it. Moving up to our electrifying main card at welterweight, Tim Means versus Uros Medic. They have Uros Medic as a huge favorite in this matchup. And I was kind of thinking a little bit, maybe Tim Means can kind of outgrind him, work him in like the later rounds, but the more I think about it, I just don't see Tim Means being able to do that. I think Uros Medic is way too clean of a kickboxer. I think Tim Means is going to get caught early and often. And recently in Tim Means' career, the chin's a little bit suspect. And I don't think Uros Medic is the guy to gas out super hard if a fight goes late. Um, I think Uros Medic has pretty good conditioning, so I don't think Tim Means is going to be able to grind his way to a win here. And if he does start to look good in the third, I would be almost certain that Uros Medic won the first 2 rounds because he's a much better striker. I don't think Tim Means is an outrageously better grappler than Uros Medic. I think Uros Medic could easily defend the takedowns of a 40-year-old Tim Means. Now, Uros has given up a little bit in reach, but I don't think that really matters because Tim Means' strikes are slower than molasses. I think Uros Medic here is going to get himself a TKO win here over Tim Means. I think in the earlier rounds, probably like 1 or 2. Maybe Tim Means dogs him. I, I don't see it. Personally, I think Uros is a little bit too good. Also, Uros had a good performance against Oral Bly, the guy who looks like the Cro-Magnon. Um, hurt him really, really bad. Oralby thought he was like a striker or something. Uros Medic said, "No, bro, you're gonna need to sniff my nuts here if you want this win." And he did. And he did sniff his nuts. But I think Oralby is a really good fighter. Uros Medic gave a decent enough account of himself in that matchup. I think that's a way harder opponent than Tim Means. I think Uros Medic gets this one by TKO. Moving up to featherweight, Jonathan Pierce versus David Alnama. I wish there was a line here because I'm curious to see it. Because I feel like Jonathan Pierce is the favorite in this matchup, but I don't feel like he should be. I don't think Jonathan Pierce is very good. I think his striking is just I'm surprised because of how long Jonathan Pierce has been in the UFC and how little his striking has improved. Like he just sucks at striking. Now he's very good at control. He's very good at taking people down. He's not so good at finishing people after he gets a takedown, though. And I think he's going to have to be able to do that if he wants to beat David Onama here. Because David Onama, although I think he is a bit gassy sometimes, like he does kind of tend to tire out a little bit, but his coach said he wasn't doing cardio or anything for some of those fights. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and assume he's a little bit more motivated now that he's riding some good momentum. David Onama, dangerous guy, powerful guy, decent enough takedown defense, nothing insane. But I think it'll be enough if Jonathan Pierce gets wobbled and he shoots a bad takedown. David Onama will easily be able to stuff it and probably land some damage on Jonathan Pierce. I can see a world where Jonathan Pierce throws some fucking slow like body kick or like leg kick, and David Onama just steps through and absolutely blasts his chin off of his head. Those are the visions I'm getting. David Onama coming off a big win over Gabriel Santos, who is a guy I thought Gabriel Santos was going to beat David Onama because Gabriel Santos gave such a good performance against Lerone Murphy on short notice, and David Onama absolutely obliterated him. So that's a really good win for him. I don't mind the loss to Nate the Train because Nate the Train, I mean, he keeps impressing me. He keeps impressing me and looking really fucking good. So I don't mind that loss that much. I don't remember who else David Onama has lost to off the top of my head. Oh, Mason Jones. Yeah, Mason Jones is good. Mason Jones is really good. I think Mason Jones is better than Jonathan Pierce. I think David Onama is going to catch Jonathan Pierce. I think he's going to hurt him. I think Jonathan Pierce will shoot a bad takedown. David Onama stuffs it, finishes him with ground and pound, and like rounds 1 or 2, I think. It's either that or Jonathan Pierce has a really boring performance and fucking dry humps David Onama for 15 minutes. And who wants to see that? No one. Moving up to heavyweight, Austin Lane versus guy's name I can't pronounce. Jahanta Denise. Some of these Brazilian names, brother, they just absolutely rattle my fucking Westerner brain. I'm going with Denise here. This is a guy with a lot of kickboxing experience and glory. His MMA record, if you dig into it, all he fought was cans besides his Dana White's Contender Series opponent, who was pretty good. And he absolutely flattened him, by the way. This guy's just a scary fucking kickboxer. He's very good, very powerful. He's finished every single one of the guys he's fought in MMA, and I believe he has 22 TKOs or KOs in kickboxing. Like, this is a dangerous guy with a lot of experience in striking. And Austin Lane is 36. He's got more experience in MMA, but I think largely this is going to be a kickboxing contest. And I would not give Austin Lane an advantage here over Janata Denise. The reach is about the same. Austin Lane's a bit taller. I think Denise is just going to hunt him down and catch him up against the cage because this is in the Apex. I was leaning a little bit. I thought maybe picking Austin Lane as a dog because unranked heavyweight fights are such a 50-50 gamble. But it is at the Apex, and Austin Lane's a guy who kind of likes to be at range and kind of prod a little bit. He doesn't really like to get into like a extended boxing sequence up in tight. I don't think he's going to have that option of just kind of being a little bit more rangy and poking at Janata Denise here in this matchup. I think he's going to get run up against the cage. I think he's going to get pressured up against the cage, and he's not going to have the fucking brain power to circle out, and he's just going to get caught. Yeah, I'm going to go with Janata Denise here. I think he's going to get a TKO win over Austin Lane. I don't mind Austin Lane as an underdog because I do think he's kind of decent. It's just all of the striking experience is on Denise's side, and Austin Lane is kind of a guy. Although I think he's talented and I think he's athletic, I don't think he is built for getting hit in the face and stomach, despite being 6'6". I just don't. He doesn't like it. I don't know. I don't know how else to explain it other than that. He just gives bad reactions and he bites on feints very badly a lot of the time. Yeah, I think Denise is just gonna march him down, get him up against the cage, and catch him with a big shot. Moving up to women's flyweight, Ariane Lipsky versus Karine Silva. Guys, I'm going with Karine Silva. Ariane Lipsky is pretty good, but she is very hit and miss recently in her career. She had a decent win over Casey O'Neill, but I don't think Casey O'Neill's very good. And I think Karine Silva, man, she is fucking dangerous. A real finisher in women's MMA. You don't see that a lot. And now I always say I don't give betting advice, but I love the under 2.5 on this fight. I'm not sure what the line is, but I think this fight is going under. I think there's going to be a finish in this fight. I think it's going to come from Karine Silva. Karine Silva, very nasty submissions, good wrestling too. She shows a great account of herself in the striking a lot of the time. And Ariane Lipsky, like sometimes she's good, sometimes she's not. Her recent wins aren't very good. I don't think Casey O'Neill's very good. Split decision over Melissa Gatto. JJ Aldrich is bad. And I mean, we're getting knocked out by Priscilla Capoeira. No. No. I'm going with Karine Silva. I think Karine Silva can win this fight either way. She has a very diverse set of finishes. Predominantly recently, she's been getting the submissions, clearly. But, you know, she is 8-1 in the TKO. Ariane Lipsky has been finished a few times by TKO. She can finish her by sub. I think Karine Silva, pretty much any way she wants. I think I might lean Karine Silva TKO, though, over Ariane Lipsky. I think Ariane Lipsky will be a harder opponent to submit for Karine Silva. So I think she'll opt maybe to strike with her, and I think she has an advantage there, too, personally. Moving up to light heavyweight, Ryan Spann versus Anthony Smith. Um, I hope you guys can forgive me for this one, but just for the fucking bit, I'm gonna be going with fucking Bogdan Guskov because Ryan Spann is incapable of beating people that look like Anthony Smith or are Anthony Smith. Um, Ryan Spann's good, but he's just very stupid. I mean, his like he lost to Anthony Smith in 2023. Uh, uh, like my brain is like Ryan Spann should win this fight, but my heart is just like pick Bogdan Guskov because it's funny. So I'm gonna pick Bogdan Guskov. Uzbekistani Anthony Smith is gonna sleep this fucking dumb bozo in round one. Fuck it, I don't care. Ryan Spann does have good grappling. He's got good striking, but he is a guy who I think has a mental handicap. So I'm gonna be going with Anthony Smith by TKO in round one. Uh, moving up to flyweight for our main event, Mateus Nicolau versus Alex Perez. I'll go with Mateus Nicolau over Alex Perez. I don't think Alex Perez is very good. Despite his performance against Muhammad Makayev, kind of like a depleted Muhammad Makayev. I don't think Muhammad Makayev is great either, but Perez showed a good account of himself in that matchup, stuffing the takedowns, landing the better shots. I honestly feel like he could have won that fight, to be honest. Um, but besides that performance, I mean, Perez is just his wins are bad. His last two wins coming in 2020. He's very bad against the sub. I don't think he should shoot a takedown against Mateus Nicolau. I think he will get himself submitted. I think in the stand-up, Mateus Nicolau is a very patient and elusive guy, and you really have to catch him with something that he does not see, and that's very hard to do. Like, when you look at Mateus Nicolau's record, look at his recent wins. Manel Kopp, Tim Elliott, David Dvorak, Matt Schnell. These are all solid fighters, every single one of these guys. You have to be able to catch Matheus Nicolau with a shot that he does not see to hurt him, which is why he lost to Brandon Royval. Royval timed a perfect step-in lead knee followed by a straight right to Nicolau's chin and caught him and finished him. I don't think Alex Perez is going to do that. Predominantly a boxer. He's got good hands. He's going to need to force a dogfight with Matheus Nicolau, but I just don't see Nicolau giving it to him. I think Nicolau's just going to stay behind his 1-2, prod at range, and if he sees an opening, I think he's going to blast Alex Perez. And Alex Perez just hasn't been very active lately for health reasons, for personal reasons. And I think he's the less skilled fighter here, and I would be pretty shocked if he gets a win here over Matheus Nicolau. I think you have to be a very good fighter to be able to get one over on Matheus Nicolau. I think Nicolau's still like top 5 material. I think he's going to finish this fight. I think he's going to get himself a TKO win here in like the later rounds, like 3-4, I think, over Alex Perez. Unless Perez shoots like a bad takedown, because Nicolau, I do think, has the jiu-jitsu advantage over Alex Perez. Alex Perez does bad against the sub generally. He has some of his own, but he's also very susceptible to him. And I think Nicolau's the better jiu-jitsu practitioner if it does get into an extended grappling exchange. I'm going to be going with Matheus Nicolau here. I think he's going to beat Alex Perez by TKO here in our main event. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I will catch you guys next time. See ya.